Welcome to another edition of The Butcher versus the Spin Instructor, presented by LB's Meat Market. I'm Neil McCready. I will be your host today for another fun, silly prediction show between these two guys. These two guys being Greg Jones, the butcher and proprietor at LB's Meat Market, Campbell McCready, the spin instructor at Zen Studios. So hello to both of you. How are you?
Doing good.
As always, good.
Greg, what was the weekend number one like at LB's? I heard a bunch of people say they were running in there getting stuff, so it sounded like you guys were pretty busy.
Well, you texted me today, and we were like, "Hey, are we still good at 4:00?" So I assumed today was Monday. My days have kind of Labor Day was yesterday, and we were usually getting trucks on Monday, so we didn't get a truck on Monday. We got a truck today, so I thought today was Monday. It's Tuesday, so yeah, it was a long weekend, but yeah, it was a good weekend. But got a bunch of work done. We were open from 10 to 2 yesterday, and so I had some work that needed to be done. So there were some late time Labor Day shoppers coming in. We got them taken care of.
That's awesome. So for anybody listening to this, we tape on Tuesday afternoons. What's today? Wednesday. Today's Tuesday. Yeah, my football weeks for me are like just one blur. It's just like I have no idea where I am in that moment. We tape on Tuesday afternoons. That's the day that works out best for us. You'll be seeing this, hearing it Thursday, Friday. So hopefully you've had a good week by the time you hear this. Week number one was pretty successful for you guys. You hung in there. Campbell took a 1-game lead. She started strong, Greg. A year ago, Campbell started quite weakly, and you jumped out to a big lead, and she spent the entire year chasing you. She was saying on the phone the other night, she was talking to her mom and I, she said, I've spent months preparing for this season of the Butcher versus the Spin Instructor, and I feel like I got off to a good start. And I said, yeah, you're 1 game over 500. You're a game ahead of Greg. And she was like, yes. And she was so excited. And her roommate's like, is everything okay? But you could tell there's a lot of intensity. Look at her face right there. Just total intensity, ready to go. She has a 1-game lead. She smells a little blood. Smells like 2020 again. So here we go,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens. You can't dig yourself a hole early, you got so that's what happened the first year. She got off to a big lead, and I just started pulling from the hip and just going against her. And you just don't go against her. She just knows she studies
all my angles come out and they work. So.
I'm telling you. I mean, whenever she pulled the buffalo from the Bachelor angle out, I knew it was over with.
You knew it was done. Yeah. and she lost on going green because y'all both went green, and Georgia had no interest in green.
Yeah. After seeing the Snapchat of the dog fans barking going into the stadium, I'm out on that,
Whew. All right, we got a full slate of games this week. For the record, there's 3 games that SEC games we won't pick because there is no line. One of those is Ole Miss. Ole Miss plays host to Central Arkansas at 6 p.m. on Saturday night at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. We'll talk a little later in the show about making sure you get everything you need to make that game fun. If you're heading into Oxford, if you're coming in for the weekend, you can stop at LB's and load up. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, Southern out of Baton Rouge plays at LSU 6:30 on Saturday night. There's no line on that game. And speaking of the Georgia Bulldogs, they play host to Samford on Saturday afternoon in Athens. No line on that game because those are not FBS teams. So the teams that are playing each other. We've got about, let's see, what do we have? About 11, 12 games. So we'll get rolling with them. Campbell, you are up first since you took a lead in week 1. We've got Missouri, an 8-point underdog at Kansas State. This is an 11 a.m. game on ESPN2. Campbell, do you remember Chris Vaughn, the coach he used to coach at Ole Miss? He and his wife, I guess
I recognize that name. A little.
Their son Deuce is the star running back for Kansas State. So it's Missouri at Kansas State. The Tigers getting 8 points. What do you think?
Well, you just gave me a reason to pick them. So there we go. That's my angle this week for that one.
All right. So, Greg, Campbell's going to take Kansas State and lay 8 points, which is a lot of points. What do you think?
I'll go Missouri. We'll start out. We'll start out on different sides of the ball on this one right off the get. So I'll take Missouri.
Okay, so we'll take a split there. We got 4 11 a.m. games. All of them are pretty interesting for different reasons. This one will be the one that will get the most national attention. Alabama is an 18.5-point favorite, Greg, at Texas. This game in Austin, 11 a.m. on Fox. The Longhorns, coached by Steve Sarkisian, the recent Alabama offensive coordinator under Nick Saban. Alabama won 55-0 in week number 1 over Utah State.
Yeah, I'm gonna not take the it used to be on the coaching staff angle, because the Georgia Oregon situation from last week with Oregon's coach being on the Georgia staff, that really didn't work out. That angle did not work out. So I'm just going to take Alabama here. Alabama's just too good, and why not lay 60 on them in Austin?
All right, Campbell. Greg's going to lay 18.5 with Alabama on the road in Austin. What say you?
I'm going to go with Alabama as always as well.
Yeah, it's a good safe bet. On my Neil's picks, I went with Utah State last week in the 38.5, and that was stupid. It was just dumb. I gave a game away. Idiotic. All right, Campbell, Wake Forest out of the ACC. They are headed to Vanderbilt on the SEC Network, another 11 a.m. game. Wake Forest is a 6-point favorite against the Commodores.
I'm going to go with Wake Forest. I don't really know why, other than I guess last year I never picked Vanderbilt, so maybe I'll just go with that.
It's more than fair. Vanderbilt was 2-10 a year ago. They are off to a 2-0 start, but they've not played anybody yet. Wake Forest is somebody. They're a ranked team. So what do you think, Greg? Campbell's going to take Wake and lay the 6.
Yeah, I mean, did they play Elon last week and kind of struggle with them?
Yeah, they've beaten Hawaii and now beaten Elon. They did give up a lot of points to Elon. They scored a lot of points, won the game. It's a big win.
Well, maybe they just weren't wanting to show all the secret weapons. They were going to bring them out against Wake Forest. So I don't know. I mean, I usually never bet on Vanderbilt. So, why not? It's a different year. I'm going to take Vanderbilt with the points. Why not?
All right, Greg's going to take Vanderbilt and the points against Wake. All right, Greg, a game in Campbell's neck of the woods there in Fayetteville, Arkansas, coming off of a big home win over Cincinnati. They play host to South Carolina. This game is at 11 a.m. You can see it on ESPN. Arkansas, Greg, is an 8.5-point favorite over the Gamecocks.
I like Arkansas here. I think they win by 2 touchdowns. I don't see why not. This would be a good play to put a couple pennies on. So, yeah, I like Arkansas here.
All right, Campbell, I assume that you're going to go with the Razorbacks here as well?
Yeah, going to go with Arkansas.
So people had a hard time getting into the stadium last week, right? It was so crowded?
It was, awful. I mean, the line was, all the way past the dorms, which were, it was a very long line. And people were waiting in it for hours. So, and the line had started before the game. The line had already been at 10 a.m. I'm pretty sure people were lining up. People were going in around 11.
So you stayed in the line about a minute and a half and said, nope, this isn't for me. And then.
Well, no, I was standing at one of the fraternity houses and we were just we're not going to go to the game. That line was awful and it was right in the sun. And so it was not what we wanted to do. But
probably not a terrible decision. I was watching the Ole Miss students, Greg, last week. Their Ole Miss's game started 30 minutes after Arkansas's did, and give the students a ton of credit. They were right in the sun. It was hot, and they stuck through halftime. And then after halftime, it was, hey, you know what? The beer's cold. There's an air conditioner somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, for sure.
I heard people making fun of them, and I was like, you know what? Before you judge them, the game's over. They're not losing. You go sit your ass out there in that heat for 3 hours. Yeah. And when you're done,
I know that they're having some nice stadium updates and everything like that, but shouldn't there be a ventilation system underneath the stadium to create some air conditioner? Because they are just straight exposed to the sun. There's no shade or anything, So I don't know. I think that'd be a nice upgrade for the stadium.
Good news for Ole Miss is it's a night game this week. It won't be so brutally hot at 6, and certainly not by 7:30 or 8. But 3:00 in the afternoon, Labor Day weekend, it's pretty hot if you're sitting in the sun, staring into the sun. That's just hot. All right. Speaking of hot, Texas A&M's pretty hot. They won their opener pretty easily. They entertain Appalachian State, Campbell. This game is in College Station, 2:30 on ESPN2. The Aggies are a 17-point favorite over App State.
I'll go with Texas A&M on this one.
All right, pretty succinct there, Greg. She's going with the Aggies laying the 17. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll agree with her on that. It seemed like Appalachian State. I don't know if their kickoff team has recovered from the onside kick at the end of that game. So hopefully they got some people to fill in for those guys that got steamrolled on that play. But no, I like Texas A&M here. We're going to lay some points.
All right, here's an interesting one for you guys because this is we've got different theories and things to work here. Tennessee is at Pittsburgh. Pitt won this game a year ago, Greg, in Knoxville. This is at 2:30 on ABC. Tennessee, Greg, is a 4.5-point favorite at Pittsburgh.
I mean, I know that we're going to have the dance moms angle here on this. I really like the dance mom angle here, regardless if Pittsburgh. No, it was that interview. That coach went straight after Scott Van Pelt after that interview, and I'm like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like anybody after you go after anybody at ESPN but Scott Van Pelt, So I like the fire from the coach. So I don't know. I'll take Pittsburgh here.
All right, Campbell. Greg is going to take Pitt in the 4.5 points against the Vols. In the past, you've been a fan of Pittsburgh. So what happens here?
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I saw this game and I knew I was going to pull the dance mom. So.
All right. So you're both going with the Panthers. You're both getting points. Oh, I don't know what I think about it. It's a really interesting game. I like what I've seen from Tennessee so far, but Pittsburgh's got a really solid program. We'll see. This should be fun. A game that only I could love, only a mother could love, is Iowa State at Iowa. Campbell and Greg. Iowa last week scored 7 points. They had a field goal, 2 safeties, but they won the game. Hawkeyes got a big win. They're at home this week against their rival Iowa State. It's a 3:00 game. You can watch it on the Big Ten Network if you just hate yourself. Iowa State is a 3.5-point underdog, Campbell, against Iowa.
I'll go with Iowa. Which one are you a fan of? I don't even.
I'm a fan of Iowa.
I'll go with Iowa. My reasoning was because last year I said that the state schools were always worse than the
flagship schools. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Iowa.
All right. Campbell is betting that Iowa can actually score points, Greg. She's going to lay 3.5 here on with the Hawkeyes. What do you think?
I'm going to go Iowa State. We just I like that coach, and who knows? I just if you can't score more than 7 points against South Dakota State,
yeah.
And I don't know how many points you're going to score against a little bit better defense. So we'll see. I'm going to go with Iowa State.
Okay, so we got a split in the battle for Iowa. Another huge game, an SEC game, 6:00 on ESPN. If you are at home watching Ole Miss and Central Arkansas, this is probably the game you're putting on your other TV. It's the Wildcats and the Gators in Gainesville. Kentucky beat Miami of Ohio in week 1, and Florida knocked off Utah. I think it's the difference in y'all's picks for the week. Campbell went with the Gators. Florida knocks off Utah. This game's at 6:00 on ESPN. Florida, Greg, is a 5-point favorite.
I think it's going to be a really good game. I like Kentucky. I'm just going to keep going with Kentucky. I know that Florida looked really good last week, and that quarterback. I think LSU kind of kicking themselves with not just going to Lafayette, Louisiana, and getting Billy Napier versus getting Brian Kelly. So with that being said, I just think that I like Florida and I like where they're going, but I think Kentucky's just there's going to be a field goal game. I think it's a field goal game.
Yeah, two really good quarterbacks in this game. Anthony Richardson for Florida, Will Levis for Kentucky. Billy Napier, the Florida coach, was the coach of the week nationally for that game last week over Utah. So Campbell, Greg is going to take the Wildcats and 5 points on the road. What do you think?
I'm going to go Florida. I don't really know why. I'm just going to go with Florida.
All right, so Campbell, 2 weeks in a row, is kind of casting her net with Billy Napier and the Gators. Maybe she's kind of found finding something. We'll find out if Florida wins this week. We'll know that Campbell's kind of on to something with the Gators. Well, that'll be something to watch as we look for trends early in the season. All this research, and she's locked in on AR-15 and the Gators. All right, I think it's Campbell's turn. San Jose State, Campbell. This is an interesting test for you here. San Jose State is a 23-point favorite at Auburn. This is a game at 6:30 on ESPNU. I know you don't like Auburn. You have no affiliation with San Jose State that I can think of. Maybe has there been like a contestant on The Bachelor or something from San Jose? Is there anything you can cling to here?
No, but I'm going to just go with San Jose State because I don't pick Auburn, and I'm going to keep that streak. I have no connection, and I don't know if there's a Bachelor contestant, probably, but I don't know.
I don't guess it's possible to have a worse college visit than the one Campbell had to Auburn, because here 4 years later, she just still cheers against them at every possible turn. I mean, I was there with her. It wasn't a good visit. It was kind of weird, but I didn't realize it was as bad as it was, Greg.
It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was like impactfully bad, but I'm just going to use it to make it seem like it's bad because I'm not going to. That's my reasoning. So.
Okay. All right, Greg. Campbell's going to take the Spartans and take the 23 on the Plains against Auburn.
Yeah, I'll go with San Jose State. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some kind of TV show that has some kind of contestant that Campbell likes that is from San Jose. We just haven't dug into that research yet.
It's like some chef from the Food Network or something who passed through San Jose at some point. I mean, whatever it takes, maybe Guy Fieri's done a show in San Jose at some point. All right, we got a battle, the Baptist versus the Mormons here, Greg. Baylor is at BYU. This is a 9:15 game between two nationally ranked teams. You can see it on ESPN. So if you're going to the Ole Miss game and it's over, looking for a couple of games to watch, we've got a couple for you. Late night interesting games. We'll start with this one. Baylor is a 3-point underdog, Greg, there in Provo against the Cougars on ESPN. What do you think?
I've got a friend that graduated from BYU, so I'm going to go friend that goes to school angle here. So I'm going to go with BYU.
Okay, Campbell, Greg's going to go with BYU. So you can either go with the Cougars or you can take Baylor and get the points on the road.
But Baylor's green, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh.
This is after Oregon burned her. Do we go with the color green 2 weeks in a row? And this is why this show wins Emmys right here. This moment right now. This is why people don't tune away because
because we won with North Texas. You know?
Last week Alabama, she said I'm gonna give the points. I don't care how many. That worked out. Last week she said, I just got a feeling on Florida. That worked out. But she said I'm going with Oregon because of green, and that didn't work out. So here we go back. Do we go back into the wheelhouse or are we throwing green away? Baylor +3 at BYU, Campbell.
I'm going to give green one more chance. This will be the test here.
Whew. Man, this is dramatic. I mean, wow. Because I was worried for a minute. But now green is officially on the clock. The color green. Mark the time.
Take a sip of the Greg Goose here on this. Oh, man.
Campbell's gonna get the points and roll the dice with the color green at BYU. That's good. All right, last game. No green in this one. Campbell went with Mississippi State last week, and they covered. Greg went with Memphis, and Memphis did not handle that at all. Campbell has an opportunity we'll see what she does with Mississippi State this week. Mississippi State's at Arizona, this game in Tucson, Arizona, 10 o'clock local time on Fox Sports 1. Campbell, Mississippi State is an 8-point favorite on the road.
I'll go with Arizona.
Oh,
I don't really know. I don't know why, but that's what I'm going to go with.
okay. So Campbell went with the Bulldogs last week, and maybe she decided just 1 week of that was plenty because that's enough. They did their job for her, though. They delivered a W. Greg, what do you think? I don't
think I've ever bet on Mississippi State. I don't
think
you
have.
We're not going to start a tradition here in Arizona. So I'm going to have to bring out the Grey Goose. This is going to be the Grey Goose. We forgot about the Grey Goose. So if you make it to the Arizona Mississippi State game, here's the Grey Goose pick of the week, and it's going to be Arizona at home. We're going to go with the dog.
All right. So you're both going to go with the Wildcats. Both going to get the 8 points at home against Mississippi State. Mike Leach and company headed to Tucson. That should wrap up what should be a really fun day of games. I know we didn't mention Ole Miss. Like I said earlier, Ole Miss and Central Arkansas, there is no betting line on that game because they're in different classifications. Next week, Ole Miss will be back on the betting agenda as Ole Miss will go to Georgia Tech. That game will be a 2:30 game on ABC next week. So, Greg, people heading into town this weekend, how can they get in touch with you, and what can they do to make their LB's experience even more awesome?
Yeah, well, I always call the store. The phone usually works. Somehow it didn't work yesterday afternoon. So whenever the phone works, that's usually the best way to call us. 662-259-2999. Always call if you got a big order, call us in advance. It always helps us out because my mom will have you 24 jalapeno poppers ready to go with your name on it. And it's almost like a special treat for my mom. So, but yeah, it's always cool to call us in advance because it helps us out.
Well, great. I'll be stopping in there here in the next couple of days. Campbell's actually coming home for the weekend just to see us. So we're going to get some LBs and have an LBs Friday night. And then I'm sure she'll get up Saturday and watch the Hogs. So that'll be a fun day.
Cook some beef tenderloin. She'll be ready to go for the game.
Yeah, we'll just put a beef tenderloin on. Yeah. Although I don't want her to think I'm picking on her, but she said, I said, "Is there a cut you like?" And she's like, "I'd like a fillet." And I said, "Well, that's part of a beef tenderloin, but that's okay because it is different."
Did Rizzo like the juice stick?
They did love the chew stick. Y'all still have any of those left?
Oh yeah, we do. I end up getting 125,000 impressions from Juice Kiffin on the juice stick.
That's
unbelievable.
It is unbelievable the social media presence that has. He's like, and there's a dog on Instagram, King Clarence, who's also he's a black lab, and he has the funniest like reels or on Instagram or whatever, and you look at all the impressions, and it's unbelievable how many millions or hundreds of thousands of people are looking at that every day. It's incredible. All right, so we'll stop there. Campbell, have a safe trip to here. Looking forward to seeing you. And Greg, hope you have a great weekend there at LB's. If you guys are driving up to Oxford or over to Oxford or whatever the case may be for the game this weekend, drive safely. We appreciate you making this show a part of your week, and we'll be back next week with another edition of The Butcher versus the Spin Instructor presented by LB's Meat Market. For Campbell McCready, for Greg Jones, I'm Neil McCready. Have a great weekend. Take care.